Hello, my name is Zombie878 and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we'll be doing another Rec Room tutorial on how to make a gun with a projectile launcher, and we're going to make the gun actually kill people. I'll probably make another tutorial later on different things you can do with the gun. But for right now, we're just going to make the gun that can work every time you pull the trigger, single shot, fully auto, you hold down the trigger, etc. So what we want to do is we want to open our watch, go to create, and we want to go to the maker room, and it's going to already come up with a name for us, but we're just going to, let's just create this with the name they give us, just because I don't feel like making a name that someone else has already taken.
You've created a custom room. Your room is invite
Yes, we
only until
created a
you decide
custom
to
room.
publish it.
I
You
know
can
we
name and
created a
publish this
custom
room
room.
by pressing this room on your
Let's
watch.
start by turning fly on. So this tutorial is easier and I can fly around without the maker pen. So first what we want is the animation gizmo. We're just going to set up our workspace real quick. So let's get the animation gizmo. And we want a trigger handle. And what this does is if you hook up the trigger handle to the animation chip and you turn the animation chip on, make sure your trigger handle is grabbable. It will make it so the trigger handle always goes back to the same spot. So now that our workspace is set up, let's get started. So first what you want to do is open your watch, go to this room, you want to go to settings. In the main settings tab, you want to scroll all the way down till you see allow creative tools beta content. Turn this on and save your room. What this allows you to do is it allows you to use the beta content. In return, you can't make inventions in the room. I mean, you can't you know, you can't make inventions and save them. It takes away that option. Anyway, first thing we're going to do is we're going to move this up and we're going to detach it from the trigger handle. This makes it easier because it makes it easier editing, because when I'm moving this around, this stays still and doesn't follow the trigger handle. After that, we're going to want to get a gun. And luckily, I already have multiple guns downloaded, so we're going to get a gun with a scope. We're going to go with the AUG A1. We're going to just place it down right there. This already comes attached with a gun, so we're just going to get rid of this and get rid of the gun inside and delete that. Now what we want to do is we just want to line this up with the trigger handle. So I'm just going to straighten this out. Make sure it's completely straight. And now we're just going to line it up with our trigger handle. But the trigger handle is too big, so therefore we're going to scale this down quite a bit. And now we can put this inside the trigger. Let's go ahead and move it like this. And there we go. But when we grab the trigger, the gun doesn't move. We're going to want the clamp gizmo so we can connect it together so it does not move. So place the clamp gizmo wherever you want. It does not matter. But what does matter is you want to connect the bottom to the trigger, because whatever you connect the bottom to is whatever you grab. And since we're grabbing the trigger, we want to connect this to the bottom, not the gun. We want to connect the gun to the top. And now we can grab our gun and we can see through the scope. Just so our gun doesn't look too weird with the scope, we're just gonna go ahead and highlight that. We're just gonna move that a little bit into the scope. Gonna move this in the scope, like right here. That's good. And now we don't have nothing floating in front of the gun, and we have a nice little scope we can look through. Now, the reason we turned on creative beta content was so we could use the projectile launcher. You cannot use this if you don't got beta content enabled. So make sure to have that enabled. You're going to want to line this up where you're going to shoot the gun, and it won't not shoot from this side. It will not shoot from this side, even though it looks like it should shoot from this side. So just line it up with the gun barrel. Want to line it up in the middle. And I typically like to leave a little bit out here so I can see if it's in the middle of the gun barrel. Next, we're going to connect this to the top of the clamp gizmo. Oh yeah, and we also want to move this up just like the trigger handle. And we want to detach this from the projectile launcher. If any of your chips go out like that, just look away and look back. They should, appear back. Next, we're just gonna connect this to the projectile launcher. And to get a direction to fire, we're going to need the vector gadget. Make sure you have grid turn on so you can just have it go in the right direction, And then you want to connect this to the top of the clamp so it doesn't move so it moves with your gun. And you want to connect this to the direction. We're also going to go ahead and move this up a little bit, and we're going to detach it. And now when we fire, it's going to fire. And our sight works too. So now that our gun works, let's go over some of the configuration settings. So in the projectile launcher, you can have 3 types of bullets: a laser, a cork, which the pirates shoot in all the lost skulls, or you can choose the paintball, which we're going to go with the paintball and change the color of the bullet to amber so it looks kind of like a bullet when it comes out. The next thing in the configure menu is the count. The count is how many bullets come out the gun at once. So right now, 1 bullet comes out the gun at once. But if we change the count all the way to 16, 16 bullets come out at once. So if you have the gun doing 10 damage and 16 bullets come out at once, it's going to do 160 damage instead of just do 10 damage. Then you have your speed, how slow the bullets move. If you turn it down to 1, it basically goes so slow that you're not going to be able to see anything. So you might want to turn up the speed, but the speed is how slow the gun goes and how fast the bullet goes. So if we turn it to 1000, it basically turns into a hit scan. So if you aim at someone, they're going to immediately get hit if you're pretty close to them. We're just going to keep that at 750 for now. 750 is a good speed. Now we got the lifetime. The lifetime is how long the bullet lasts. So if we turn this down to 0.1, yes, it still hits the wall, but if somebody was there, let's say I shoot from back here, the bullet damage is going to go away about right away. So if the lifetime is 1, you got to be pretty close to somebody to actually shoot them and kill them. So that's more for a shotgun. But if it's at 5, then you can stand all the way back here and still snipe them. So it's like a sniper or assault rifle. Gonna keep the lifetime at 5 since we are using an assault rifle. The spread is how much the bullets go out in a random pattern. So since it's at 0, it goes exactly where I aim it. But if this was turned all the way up to 45, yeah, you can see how inaccurate it is. So, we're gonna turn that down to probably 1, because 1 is actually good. It's not too accurate, but it still will hit the same spot. Or you could turn it up to 2. 2 is also good. It's not that bad. Anything above 2, it's probably a bad idea to do that. Next, we have gravity. Gravity is just the gun, the bullets actually have a drop off. So let's see if I can show that to you. I don't think I can show it to you that well, but yeah, the bullet has a drop off point. So once it reaches a certain distance, it will just drop off onto the ground. Like there's gravity enabled. Next, you have your damage. So if you have 100 health and you wanted to do 50 damage, it will kill in 2 shots. I'm going to change the head damage to 40, the torso damage to 30, and I'm going to change the hand damage to 20. So if you hit the head, it does 40 damage. If you hit the torso, which is the whole body, it does 30 damage. And if you hit the hand, it does 20 damage. And yeah, if you turn this down to 0, it will do no damage at all. The sound just disables the sound of the paintball, and you can just hear the sound of the trigger from me pressing the trigger handle. But if I enable this, you can hear the paintball sound again. And that is all for the projectile launcher. Now, I will be right back. I will get my auto count in here, and I will show you that it does no damage. So I will be right back. Hello, I am back, and here's my auto count. A nice little target dummy for us to test out our gun for. So, I am going to put a respawn point down so he just respawns in the same place and it is easier for us to keep shooting him over and over. And I will also get a game rules chip because it's not going to kill unless we have a game rules chip that gives us a health bar. So place down your game rules chip. And we could go through all these options, but I'm just going to make it so the game starts right away. And I'm going to turn player visuals off. You can turn it on if you want to distinguish what team people are on, but you don't have to. We're going to turn on combat settings and change the health to 200. And we're going to turn on auto heal. The delay will be 3 seconds for auto heal. Well, actually, I'll keep the health at 100. I think 100 is perfect, especially if we're going to have auto heal on. So I'm going to turn on auto heal. The delay will be 3 seconds. I will turn the player HUD on. You want to make sure this is on so people can see their health bar. And I'm just going to turn this on so everyone can see everyone's health bar. And there you go. Now I can start the game and we can get this started
Game
to
on.
see if the gun works. If you noticed, I also added some targets in the back of the room just to show you how accurate the gun is. With the scope, I'm going to turn the spread down to 0 so it shoots accurately. So if we aim right at the middle of the target and shoot, it actually hits the middle of the target. So now I'm going to shoot our participant here. And it should be doing 40 damage to his head, but it's not doing no damage. Why is that? That is because we set the damage and everything, but inside the chip, we need to add a event receiver, event receiver, and we also want combatant receives damage, so it knows who is receiving the damage. Next, you want to configure your event receiver, and there's a new event here called projectile hit player. Enable that, and just connect the execute to it. The firing player will be the damage source. The hit player is obviously the target getting hit. And the damage, connected to the damage. And you can turn this true or false, whether you're using shields or not. And now, our gun, just like I said, it should do 40 damage to the head. So he should die in 3 shots. He died in 3 shots, and our gun works. And if we shoot him in the torso, it does 30 damage each. And if we shoot him in the hands, which, honestly, it is harder to hit the hand, so I'm gonna get up close. He will die in a lot more shots. Now, I can single fire the gun and spray it as much as I can, but the problem is I can't hold down the trigger. I will show you how to hold down the trigger. I will end the game so we can get this health bar off the screen. Okay, now if we want this to repeatedly fire, what we want to do is we want a if chip, and we want to connect the trigger is primary action is held to the if chip. We also want a delayed chip. Place that over here. This will delay each bullet. So if I hold it down, obviously it's going to keep firing. But this delay will keep that from happening. So if I change this to 0.25 or Let's change it to point. Yeah, point 2 is okay to show you what I'm talking about. And we want another event receiver. And we want a int variable chip. We'll place that right up here. And we want a add chip. A add. Place it right below your int variable chip. We connect this to the execute and the input to the output and the output to the input. We're going to add 1 each time. And we are going to change the event receiver to our int variable that. So every time this changes, a bullet will fire. So what we want to do is we want to connect the after delay to here, and we want to change and we want to connect wait a second, and we want to connect the run to here. And we want to connect the primary action press to here. So if we press this and it's held, it will activate the delay, and obviously after the delay, oh, I didn't connect this, it will fire in that direction, and else will cancel it in releasing the trigger. So now if we hold it down, oh, looks like we messed up some circuit. We want to connect this to run. And now it fires if we hold it. Got to connect this chip. So yes, you want the bullet change. We're just going to call this int variable. We want the int variable change to connect the delay. So every time it runs, after the delay, it changes the int variable again, and it just keeps looping until you either let go of the trigger and it cancels, or you release the trigger and it cancels. And like I said, if you increase the delay, so let's increase the delay to 0.5. Now if you hold down the trigger, it will take longer for each bullet to come out. So we're just going to make the delay, let's say 0.19. I think that's good. 0.19. And there we go. We have a gun that will single fire if you want to. Well, it doesn't single fire, but it still works like a machine gun, which it should. So now that we have our gun, let's add a bullet count to finish this off. We're going to copy this. And you could change this to bullet count if you want, but I'm just going to change this to int variable. Well, keep it int variable. So we're going to change this add chip to subtract, and we're also going to change this to subtract, because we don't want to add bullets every time it shoots. We want to subtract bullets every time it shoots. So get subtract. And we're just going to release the add chips that we put down. Now we're going to connect our output to input and our input to the output. Right now it's at 74, so we'll probably clear that out. Let me disconnect this and just connect it here. So I'm just going to press the trigger once. And there we go. It should be reset to 0 now. And now we can connect the primary action back here so it turns into a machine gun. And we're going to subtract by 1 bullet every time it shoots. And we are going to make it so if it is less than 0, then it will stop. So we're going to get less than. I like to use less than or equal to, but it's better to use less than. So we're going to connect our bullet count to the less than. And if it is less than 0, we're going to connect an if chip. We need an if chip. Let's just place the if chip right here. So if the bullet count is less than 0, and obviously if it is less than 0, we're going to not connect it here because obviously if we connect this to the run here, it's going to fire. But we don't want that. We want to have multiple checks. So we're still going to have this connected, but we want to connect this to the other if chip now. So even if this is correct, it still is going to check if the bullet count is less than 0. And if this is less than 0, then it will cancel this. And what this is going to do is make it so even if we're trying to pull the trigger, it's not going to fire. And we're going to connect the else to the fire and direction. So, and we're going to keep this connected to the fire and direction too. And we want to disconnect the primary action press and do this. So every time we press this, it will subtract 1. And when it subtracts 1, it will go up here. And also, I know what you're saying. You're like, well, we have 0 bullets right now. We're going to make it so every time you pick up the gun, it immediately gets 30 bullets or however many bullets you want. But for this example, we're going to use 30. So change your bullet count to 30 and connect this to pickup. And now, whenever we pick it up, we should have 30 bullets. Oh, it's constantly firing. Let's disconnect that and put this to the cancel instead. It would probably be easier if I added some subtitles. So let's get the subtitle chip. Clear current subtitle, show local subtitle. Gonna put a subtitle chip right here. turn this down to 1 second. Not 31 seconds. 1 second. We are going to get a string format. And we're going to change the format to, we want it to say however many bullets. So we're going to hit shift and these squiggly brackets, the left squiggly bracket, put 0 in the right squiggly bracket. And this will show us the bullet count. And then we're just going to put bullets or whatever you want. Then we're going to hit done. And we need a toString now. So put in toString and it should come up. And now if we connect the bullet count to the string and connect it to the bottom of here, it will show us that we have negative 66 bullets. And it will show that whenever we press the trigger, so we need a if chip, place the if chip down here, and just make it so I usually connect this, so if this is currently equipped and you also press the trigger, it works. So I will connect this to, well, actually we don't really need on release, so I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to get another primary action press and just copy it down here. And now, if you connect this to here, every time you press the trigger, this should show up. So let's try it. Doesn't seem to be working. This is currently equipped though. And I am pressing the trigger. The bullet count definitely is changing. Okay, so we're just going to connect this to update 30 hertz a second instead. So get a vent receiver. And change it to update 30 hertz a second. So now if you equip the gun and that is true, it should show you the bullet count. See? Shows you the bullet count. And if we hit 1 bullet, it doesn't do anything. But then when we hit 0 bullet, we still don't have a reload. We need to add another delay chip for the reload. So let's go ahead and copy another chip. This will be the reload. How long it will take to reload. I usually think 2 to 3 seconds is good for a reload. So let's make it a 2.5 seconds. That seems like a good reload. And when the delay is done, obviously we'll add the 30 bullets back. So now When this is, like I said, when we hold the trigger down, which is right here, and we press the trigger, it will subtract 1 from our bullet count. And when it subtracts 1 from our bullet count, it goes up here. And if it is true, then it will go over here. If our bullet count is less than 0, which is true, it should cancel this, and well, now that we have the reload, we're going to add it here. So now it runs this, and after it runs this, the delay goes here and it adds 30 bullets. We're also going to put that cancel there. So now it fires, and we are at 1 bullet. If we go to 0 bullets, it doesn't do anything. But if we go to -1, in 2.5 seconds, it should go to 25. Something seems a little wrong here, but and if you want to make it so if you press the trigger for it to reload, I could do that, but I think this is good enough. I will also put this room in my description, the description to the video, to show you, so you can go to it in Rec Room. It reloads the 30 bullets. That's weird. So even when it reloads, it still fires. Gonna connect this cancel to this. It fires because this is still running. Don't know why that is. And yes, if we hit -1, it will go back to 30. And there we go. We have a working gun. Let's turn on our game.
Game on!
And let's test it out on our target. Seems great. And that will be the end of my gun tutorial. I will put some comments in the room, and I will, fix it up a little so it's a little easier to understand. I know this is a lot of circuits everywhere. But if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I might do this again. I really do want to get into tutorials again because I've been really enjoying building in Rec Room as of recent. So, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next tutorial video.